It's been over a month since The Last of Us on HBO has concluded, and I can't believe what Joel just did. It's unforgivable, unexcusable, and a downright travesty against humanity and the greater good. He gets excited about beefaroni over ravioli. The nerve of this man. Well, aside from that, all is fine and dandy as the first season has come to an end. But that only makes us pine for more Easter eggs, references, and bits of trivia laid out towards the last few episodes. We've covered the rest of the series in our previous videos, so check those out too if you haven't already. I mean, it's not like there's any other Last of Us media you can consume, like, I don't know, a comic series, a live theater concert that has some actors reenacting some iconic scenes, a video game where the show is originally based on, a remake of said hypothetical video game now available on PlayStation 5 and PC, and absolutely no way there's already a game that's a sequel to a previously mentioned hypothetical first game which the show's second season will adapt? Nah, nope, nada. The show and our video series is all we got. I swear. Alright. All jokes aside, here are the last of the most tear-jerking, heart-wrenching, and absolutely inconsequential bits of trivia from episode 7 to the season finale of HBO's The Last of Us. These will definitely not be a focal point for the second season's plot. Right? Remember, this is gonna be a spoiler-filled video for both the games and the TV series. We screamed, laughed, and cried our way through hell to get here. It can't be for nothing. And with all that said, let's finish what we started.
There's some pretty gnarly stuff in here.
As much as any creative would like to reference their previous works, they would equally want to reference the work that inspired them. And the devs at Naughty Dog aren't any different. Like in Uncharted 4: A Thief's End, having references to the Monkey Island series and the indie darling Papers, Please.
Yeesh. We have that to look forward to when we get back to the States.
Could be worse. Could be our Stotska.
Oh, don't even remind me.
For The Last of Us, Ellie is fond of a game called The Turning, an arcade fighting game with characters having a penchant for explicit violence and gore. Of course, one actual game series that fits that description just right is Mortal Kombat. And wouldn't you know it, Episode 7 prominently features Mortal Kombat 2 during one of Ellie and Riley's happiest moments together. But there's actually a bit more to this reference than just a cute nod. Neil Druckmann mentioned in the Last of Us podcast that the reason they included Mortal Kombat 2 in the show and made a nod to it in the games with The Turning is to add some subtle commentary towards violence in video games. Like Mortal Kombat, the original Last of Us game received some criticism for its depiction of violence. Not only did Druckmann want to highlight Mortal Kombat as a remembrance of his memories of the game and experience in arcades, but also to use it as a contrast that despite how violent games may be, they don't compare to the horrors of reality. And that definitely applies to the world of The Last of Us.
You know, we can be all poetic and just lose our minds together.
Episode 7 of the show, entitled Left Behind, is a bit unique compared to the rest of the episodes because it covers a part of the story that wasn't included in the original game's story. It adapts the first DLC expansion of the first Last of Us game, also called Left Behind. Just like in the show, the DLC expansion bridges the gap between the end of the university chapter, where Joel gets severely wounded, and the beginning of the winter section where players start to play as Ellie, unclear of Joel's fate. It jumps back and forth between that story and a flashback to the night Ellie and her best friend Riley find love in a hopeless world only to be infected in the end. What some may not be aware of is that there is more to Ellie and Riley's story than what is portrayed in Left Behind. Enter The Last of Us American Dreams, a short-run comic book series that tells how Ellie and Riley first met. The Left Behind DLC actually reflects a lot of moments depicted in the American Dreams comic series, like Ellie and Riley jumping from roof to roof, and Ellie's first introduction to The Turning. Even the show pulls some bits from the comic series, like the scene of Ellie getting a sermon from a federal officer, and the duo's amusement and/or confusion over mannequins and lingerie. While it hasn't been confirmed that the events of American Dreams is canon for the show, it doesn't take that much adjustment to make it so. Other than some changes like the appearance of the grizzled federal officer Winston, and how Riley and Ellie met Marlene, American Dreams can fit well with the show's version of Left Behind. Bits like Riley stealing Ellie's Walkman, And the part where they get shot by federal officers mistaking them for Firefly rebels can still make it within the show's canon. And who knows, maybe some aspects of American Dreams may pass on to the second season as well. The comic series shows Ellie imagining the horrific causes of things around her, like a military car sprinkled with blood and bullet holes, and what the arcade could have been like moments before the inevitable fungal-infested disaster. A twisted imagination that hints of a darker, more violent version of Ellie lurking underneath. If you have time, go check out The Last of Us American Dreams. It's only 4 issues long, so it's a quick read but a worthwhile one. Now, if only they would adapt Ish's story into a short-run comic series. Now that would be sick.
This place is actually kind of pretty.
In what could only be described as a reference to a reference, Episode 9 features the exact same reference a developer put in the original game. The episode has the iconic giraffe scene, which ends with Joel and Ellie overlooking a baseball field as a herd of giraffes gracefully pass by. Fans were able to point out that the scoreboard in the distance was the same design as it was in the game, including the name of the field. Turns out that Bethany Claire Field is a heartwarming nod to the wife of one of the original game's level designers, Peter Field. A VFX artist at WTAFX who worked on that scene in particular even commented in a Reddit thread that they weren't aware that the baseball field was actually a subtle but meaningful tribute, as they were more focused on giving tribute to the game by making the field look identical. A unique situation of an Easter egg from the original being kept in the adaptation by almost sheer coincidence. You don't get a lot of those, I reckon. Next thing.
That's it. I won't bring it up again.
Okay, this is the last time we'll mention the OG actors having a role in the show. But like the show, we saved the best for last, with Troy Baker, Ashley Johnson, and Laura Bailey all making appearances in these last few episodes. In the games, Troy Baker played the main dad himself, Joel. As for the show, he appears in episode 8 as David's right-hand man, James. While James didn't really mean much to the overall narrative in Last of Us Part 1, the show, along with Troy Baker, added a bit more character by painting a more guilt-stricken man. Just like it was kinda messed up to see OG Tommy hunt down Pedro Pascal's version of Joel, it's also morbidly ironic to see OG Joel really wanting to kill Bella Ramsey's version of Ellie. And instead, the opposite happens. Speaking of Ellie, what a genius call to cast Ashley Johnson as Anna. In the games, Ashley Johnson played our favorite pun master, Ellie. As for Ellie's mom, Anna never really made an appearance in any of the games as she died around the time Ellie was born. The most the games have shown of Anna are a letter addressed to Ellie from her own mom, and some notes and voice recordings from Marlene speaking to Anna posthumously. Neil Druckmann has stated that he has always wanted to tell the story of Anna, whether through a video game or a comic series, but his efforts back then went nowhere. So when it came time to produce the show, it seemed to make perfect sense to finally add Ellie's mom in, even if only for a short scene. It's as if Ashley Johnson's connection to Ellie has come full circle, having both metaphorically and literally given birth to the iconic character. Last but not least is Laura Bailey, having a more blink and you'll miss it role in the season finale as one of the nurses. This one. Many fans thought that having her play as one of the nurses in that pivotal scene is a big brain tease for what's to come in the next season. What some fans may not have known is that Laura Bailey is actually reprising her role, having played the same nurse in the first Last of Us game. Do you think Laura Bailey would have a good shot at reprising her role as Abby in the next season then? I wouldn't cross her out just yet, so let's see if she could take a swing at it. And yeah, that's gotta be it for all the appearances of those who portrayed the characters in the game, infecting their way into the TV show adaptation. The main reason why we consistently bring up this kind of trivia is that this rarely happens, especially to this degree. Usually you would just get a quick cameo or one that ends up feeling cheeky and in your face. So seeing these original actors not only receive fairly prominent, if not fitting roles, shows just how much respect and care the show adaptation has to the source material. Hopefully we can see the same level of reverence to the original actors in The Last of Us Part 2, as the shows preps to adapt that next in the upcoming seasons.
It's been a hell of a trip, kiddo.
The giraffe scene in The Last of Us is a pivotal and, dare I say, irremovable moment in the first game. So seeing it being adapted in a TV show is a sight to behold. But one question suddenly stirred the internet after the first season finale aired. A question that even to this day has left fans divided. Was the giraffe real or CGI? And as a matter of fact, the answer isn't as clear-cut as some may think. Yes, the giraffe is real. Mostly. Meet Nabo, a 13-year-old male Maasai giraffe that graciously lent his talents to be showcased in the show. Nabo, as seen in the show, is mostly real, aside from some touch-ups and other elements like the background. Nabo really did provide an Oscar-winning performance in set, but the set had to come to Nabo first as production moved to Nabo's residence at Calgary Zoo. As seen in the making of The Last of Us documentary, Nabo's enclosure had to be fitted with blue panels for the VFX artist to transform the enclosure into a dilapidated office space overlooking Bethany Clare Field. The show's production designer John Paynos has said that it took over a month to prepare Nabo in the set so that Nabo himself would get comfortable with the space, as well as the production crew, specifically Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal. So yes, that is, in fact, a mostly real giraffe being fed real branches handed out by real people. Of all the philosophical questions and moral dilemmas the season finale has brought up, the one that got the most attention is a Pixar didn't happen situation. Maybe there is hope that the internet won't explode when season 2 comes out after all. As they say, all good things must come to an end. And now that the first season of HBO's The Last of Us has concluded, so must this series. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and let us know what other game adaptations you'd want us to feature in this series next. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and let us know what other game adaptations you'd want us to feature in this series next. If you want to see more, check out our other videos as well. We cover the latest news, reviews, and make many other fun pieces of content related to all things gaming. This is Game and Information Station, and we'll see you in the next— Wait a minute. Joel didn't throw a single brick in the entire show? Oh, that son of a—